Hey, what's up? Welcome to our series, Wondrously Weird Bible Stories, where we dig into the strange, the supernatural, and the most mysterious parts of the Bible. We're here to explore the bizarre details and surprising twists that make it the most interesting book of all time. So buckle up, things are about to get seriously weird. Picture this. You're ready for Bible study. You've made it through the entire Old Testament, and now you're finally diving into the Gospels. So, you open Matthew 1, expecting an epic start to the New Testament. But instead, you're met with a genealogy? By the time you hit King David, you might be thinking, seriously, dude, why is this endless list even here? But wait, what if I told you that buried in this genealogy is a mystery hiding in plain sight? Something not just profound, but downright weird. Let's take a closer look at Matthew 1 verses 2 through 6. Before you throw something at me, I promise we aren't going to read the whole genealogy. Matthew's genealogy covers a whopping 42 generations in Jesus' family line. But if you look closely at verses 2 through 6, you'll notice something unique. Before we even get to David, Matthew mentions 4 women. But there is a catch. These aren't the usual matriarchs like Sarah or Rebecca. Nope, Matthew highlights 4 unlikely women. In verse 3, we see Tamar, we see Rahab and Ruth in verse 5, and Bathsheba, identified only as Uriah's wife in verse 6. Here's the obvious question. Among the 42 generations listed, why are these 4 women the only ones Matthew mentions? And here's an even better question. What do these women have in common? We need a clue, and luckily for us, here's the break we need to crack this mystery. Did you notice that Bathsheba is named only by her connection to Uriah, not as David's wife or even by her first name? That's a curious choice, and it carries some serious weight. In Jewish tradition, when writers referred to Bathsheba as Uriah's wife, it was subtly calling attention to David's affair with her and the arranged death of her husband, Uriah. This phrase doesn't just recall Bathsheba's story, it was reminding us of the affair. Now let's take a look at Tamar in Genesis 38. After her husband dies, Tamar is left without the promised provision of a new husband within Judah's family. In a move that defies cultural and moral expectations, she disguises herself as a prostitute and bears Judah's child to secure her place within Israel. Her actions are unconventional and uncomfortable, but they serve a larger purpose. Then there's Rahab, a Canaanite woman and an actual prostitute in Jericho. When Israelite spies enter Jericho, she hides them in her home, risking her life and aligning herself with Israel's God instead of her own people. This bold act of faith ultimately saves her family, and Rahab becomes part of Jesus' lineage despite her outsider status. Ruth, a Moabite widow, has one of the more subtle but complex stories. While most people know about her actions on the threshing floor, again, we see behavior that could certainly be considered immoral, where she dresses herself up, waits for Boaz to get drunk, and then lays with him. Ruth was an outsider, and her actions could have been misinterpreted, but she became the great-grandmother of David, a key figure in Jesus' ancestry. Finally, we come to Bathsheba. Her story is one of tragedy and scandal, marked by David's moral failing. Yet despite this, Bathsheba becomes the mother of Solomon and an essential part of Jesus' lineage. But why is all of this important? Matthew isn't just highlighting these women for dramatic effect. He's foreshadowing something profound about Jesus' secret mission. Jesus didn't come only to reverse the curse of death introduced in Eden. He came to address the deeper, layered curses that haunt humanity, specifically the curses from Genesis 6 and Genesis 11. In Genesis 6, we see heavy tones of immorality and human corruption. While this is just my opinion, I believe Matthew is subtly pointing to Jesus as the one who would reverse the moral and spiritual corruption of Genesis 6. By mentioning these 4 women, Matthew is hinting at Jesus' role in redeeming and restoring every broken and immoral element within his own lineage, and by extension, all of humanity. So, this genealogy isn't just a list of names, it's a blueprint of redemption. Matthew's genealogy points to Jesus as the redeemer of every kind of brokenness in human history. It tells us that he's not just the savior of the righteous or the morally clean. He's the savior who redeems humanity in all its messiness, fulfilling God's plan to reverse the ancient curses of Genesis and restore all people to himself. Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed this, don't miss my series on supernaturality and the Bible. The link is in the description. And just remember to keep reading that Bible.